subscribe to my channel after this. Here goes nothing. Hey loves, Send here coming at you with another video, and this one is one of those ones that's a little nerve-wracking for me to upload because I have literally recorded this video and then deleted it from my computer about 3 or 4 different times because I'm like, I don't want to share my real life story because I feel like a lot of people want to know your story, but they don't want to know your story because I can tell you. If you guys would have known what I'm about to tell you while it was going on, I can guarantee you I probably wouldn't be here because you wouldn't have been rocking with me. Probably wouldn't have believed that I could pull through the things that I'm about to tell you about, but here goes nothing. Let's start from the beginning. I've never really wanted to do anything else. Like, I was never like, oh, I want to be a lawyer or I want to be a doctor or anything like that. Like, I was the little girl, like other little girls were like playing with their Barbies, like making them wrestle, or I don't know what you do with Barbies. I was like cutting their hair off and crying because it wasn't growing back. Yeah. Whenever I graduated from high school, I went ahead and went to college, and I decided that I was going to go, I went to school in Tallahassee, Florida. And at first I was just going to follow in my father's footsteps, and I was going to major in psychology because that's what my father did. And I mean, I like talking to people and helping people. Like, I do it every day at work, honestly. But I was just like, I'm not going to do hair because I remember talking to somebody and they were like, oh no, you shouldn't do hair because hairstylists only make $20,000 a year, like you know, max 35. And I was like, oh hell no, that don't work. Well, I'm gonna do that, buy Starbucks every morning. So anywho, that's why I went to college. Anywho, I was talking to my dad one day and he was like, oh, you know, you don't sound happy, like what's wrong? And I was like, I just can't see myself like doing this forever. Like, I just can't see myself like sitting behind a desk or I don't know, like suit and tie going to work. I just can't see myself working for somebody else. And so my dad was like, well, what do you really want to do? And I told him I really wanted to do hair. And he's like, well, why in the hell didn't you just say that? My dad said, okay, baby, keep it plain. What do you want to do? And I was like, I want to do hair. And he was like, well, why didn't you just say that? And I was like, I don't know. So anyway, make a long story short, I come back to Vegas. I enrolled in cosmetology school. I've never done anything else. So I want to say this, cosmetology school was so fun. Like, I gave you guys the 5 things that they don't tell you in cosmetology school, but I think you guys kind of missed the point on that video. I wasn't trying to say that cosmetology school is like a horrible place and nobody should go to cosmetology school. That's not what I'm saying. All I was trying to let you guys know in that video is that once you graduate cosmetology school, that is just the beginning. Your education like never stops. It's almost like being a teacher. Like, teachers have to constantly go to school and educate themselves because, you know, there's always different forms of mathematics. Different things change. Same thing as it pertains to the hair industry. That's all I'm saying. Anywho, and if you guys want to hear about that video, if you guys want to watch the video of the 5 things that they don't tell you that they don't want you to know in the hair industry, I'm going to leave it up here in the cards as well as in the description box. So anywho, when I was in cosmetology school, at first it was like so much fun. It was really a lot of fun at the end too, but it was more so like we were just ready to get out, and we literally used to say that like, when you getting out? When you getting out? But anywho, so I graduated cosmetology school, and when I was in cosmetology school, I was one of the only black girls there. And I remember I didn't have a full clientele, not even halfway full at all when I graduated cosmetology school, but I did have enough to sustain me. Keep in mind, I was about 19, and yeah, I was about 19, and I had met my husband when I was in cosmetology school, and that's a whole nother video. But whenever I first went to work, I decided that I was not gonna work commission because I didn't want I just couldn't stomach like somebody else getting 40% or somebody else getting 30%. Now, I was watching a lot of different videos on the subject before I made this video, and I saw so many women telling people like, oh, you should go work on commission first. You have to work at commission first, at Regis first. I'll give my opinion on that in a later video. If you guys want to know how I feel about that, leave it in the comments below. We got a lot of ground to cover, so I'm not even going to get into that. So anyway, I go to like a regular salon, and at the time, the church that I was going to at the time had a person that went there that opened up a salon. It was two guys, and one of the guys, it was two black guys, and then his girlfriend was like this white lady, but she looked like a black lady. It was really confusing. But anywho, like, she was the manager slash head stylist, and make a long story short, they kind of felt like they was pimps in their own right, and I feel like they wanted to run the hair salon like we was they hoes. I don't know, like, but he would try to like get booth rent for me, and people kept like quitting. The commission stylist kept quitting, and it was only me and this other girl named Tiff who still does my hair now. Hang time. One day, the manager there, she comes up to my chair. Mind you, I was paying booth rent, so right out of cosmetology school, I was paying booth rent that was $150 a week. So anyway, at first everything was okay, but then this one day, it was just me and another booth rent hairstylist that was there, and I had a client in my chair, and this client, she had came in there in the hair salon to buy hair, and she saw me doing one of my clients' hair. She didn't say anything to me in the shop, but then I was at the grocery store, and she had recognized me and was like, oh, you know, can I get your card? Like, her hair looks so good, woo, blah, blah, blah. So I give her the card. So I guess the receptionist or whatever, she had noticed, like, I guess she recognizes the lady, so she must have called him on the phone, the owner, and then she comes over to my chair as my client is sitting in the chair and hands her the client record book and goes, whenever Latrice, because at the time I was going by my middle name, and she was like, whenever Latrice is in this hair salon, you know, she's a commission stylist, so if she gets a referral, so don't give this to her, give it to me. And I'm like, oh, they got me messed up. On top of other things, like I said, if you want to know that full story, leave it in the comments. That'll be another story time. So anywho, I hit up my mom, and I was like, hey, y'all gotta come pick me up and help me move my stuff out because they got me messed up. So anyway, I move out, and at that moment, I made a decision. I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, I don't want to work in another hair salon, because that was the only hair salon that I worked at. So it was cosmetology license straight to this hair salon with this situation, amongst a lot of other things. Not with me, no drama with me. That was the only drama with me in the hair salon, but just the dynamics of it and the drama that they had and the female cattiness. And she took my client, and I don't think I'm like, I don't got time for that. I had heard of studio salons, and they had private studios for $260 a week. Mind you, I am fresh out of cosmetology school with my $150 booth rent. After booth rent, I probably had maybe like $100 each week, which means that I was making like $250 a week, right? So I'm like, okay, I can do this. This is an extra $10, you know, it's just an extra $10. And I'm like, if I really like grind and hustle, like I know I can make more money than this. So I'm like, okay, whatever. So anyway, I go to studio salons, and I was there, and it was, listen, don't let anybody tell you, I don't give a damn how glamorous it looks on social media. I don't care how much of like a dream job it appears to be. The hair industry is one of the hardest things to break into and succeed in. I don't think people realize how many hairstylists there are. There are hundreds and thousands of hairstylists, and most of them you guys have never even heard about. And the ones that you hear about, like the Janae Millers and Janae Mickles and Tierra J and Ming Lee and all of these different amazing hairstylists. Beauty Can Braid. Like, I can go on forever. All of these amazing hairstylists that are out here, they didn't just wake up one day like, ooh, I want to do hair. Like, no, so much goes into this. So anywho, back to the story. So I get to studio salons, and at the time, I never really started out with low prices, because I went straight from cosmetology school to a hair salon. And even though the way that the owners ran it, it was still in a really nice area. Like, they was kind of bougie there. So I never started off doing $50, $60 weaves, ever. Like, ever. I started right out the back like $150. No. I started it right off the back, like 100. I think like 100 right out the back. So, anywho, I would, do different promotions and stuff. I remember I was on everything. Twitter around the time, like freaking Craigslist, eBay, you name a social media platform, I was freaking on it, okay? 24/7, I had my work posted everywhere. I just made sure people did not have an option but to see me. And at the time, it was really like Facebook. Like, I was really like heavy posting on Facebook. That's when Facebook first had like their Facebook fan pages and all of that stuff. So I'm on there like crazy, like posting like a freaking crazy, right? Like building my clientele and stuff. So I would get people, but then I found that like as I was out there like promoting myself and I was doing specials, because I was like I said, I started off the back like 100, 115, like between 100 and 150, no more than 150, but I don't remember the exact amount. And I remember like I would do like little specials and stuff like that. And then as I did those specials, then people would be like, oh, she doing it for the low, I'm gonna go in. So at first I was like, okay, yes, like this is amazing, yes, okay. So people started coming in, but to make a long story short, like it was okay, but then it wasn't, because I started to build a clientele off specials, right? So anywho, it will literally be to the point where some days like I will go to work, and I told y'all this story before. I'll leave the video in the description box below so you can get like full story. But I remember I was at work and I would be there from like from like 6 o'clock in the morning to like 10 o'clock at night sometimes. And the reason that I would be there at 10 o'clock at night, like let's say I had 8 clients on my schedule, like 3 of them would actually come. Everybody else through the day would just be like standing me up all freaking day. And I mean, hey, it is what it is. It comes with the territory, you feel me? So like I just had to learn how to get into my rhythm. But this is like the first couple of years, and I would just cry like, oh my god, like I had to, for like a year I was only breaking even. So then after that, like towards the end of the first year, my husband ended up moving to Vegas, but at the time he was my boyfriend. And once he got down here or whatever, I'm gonna say we probably got married like 8 months later, 8 or 9 months later, not a full year, I don't quite remember. This was in 2010. So we get married, but meanwhile, I'm still getting stood up on a regular basis. I'm still like barely breaking even, but mind you, this is like the beginning of our life together. So as soon as we got married, I got pregnant. We got married December 4th, 2010, and then my daughter was born December 30th of the following year. So I mean, we got straight to business, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, when I first had my daughter, I was like, okay, like it was still the beginning of my career, and I wasn't even making any money. Like I was taking money out of the house. If anything, I wasn't bringing any money home. I was just going all day and up there so I could do hair to pay the booth rent, basically. So anyway, once I had my daughter, I was like, okay, I'm gonna just do the stay-at-home mom thing, because I'm like, the hair thing already isn't really working out. Mind you guys, this is in 2011. So I'm like, this hair thing already isn't really working out, so I think I'm gonna just stay home. So that lasted for like 2 weeks. I was like, I cannot do this. like don't get me wrong, like being a mom is amazing, but like stay-at-home mom, like that's not for everybody. And I'm like, bro, like I can only clean these floorboards and these diapers and breastfeed and stuff so much. So anywho, I decided to start working again, but I had left studio salons. So I just decided to go ahead and do hair from home for a minute. So I did hair from home for probably about like 2 months. And some of those clients I still have to this day. Like I decided to go back to work and get a studio like this. So I've always worked in studios like where I'm at now. I've only worked in a hair salon my first maybe 6 months of my entire career. Back to a studio. So I was there for a minute, and then shortly after that, like a couple months later, I found out I was pregnant with my son. So I'm like, really? Yeah, I'm pregnant again, bro. So anyway, my daughter, we planned my daughter for sure. I'm like, well, I'm gonna have his baby. But my son was like, surprise, I'm in here too. Y'all having babies. Let me go ahead and push through. I told you guys a story about my son. If you guys want to know the story about my premature birth with my son, then I'll let you know. But, you know, with my business, you have to plan ahead because there's no 401k pension plan. There's no sick leave, medical leave, you know, medical insurance for when you have children. There's none of that. So maternity leave, paternity leave, none of that. So I have to plan ahead for all of these things. But I was due April 26th, but my water broke at 2 o'clock in the morning, January 2nd. So yeah, that was very early. So, you know, like I said, I'll tell you guys that story. If you want to know, leave me comments below. But anywho, so I was on bed rest for 2 weeks, and then I was able to keep my son in my body for 2 weeks, which was God. It was amazing because if he would have been born then, they didn't think he would have made it. But anywho, my son, so like that was in the middle of me like trying to build my business and everything, and like I had just got my momentum together, like my clientele had started building and stuff. Even though I was pregnant, like I had my whole game plan together. And mind you, at this studio I had moved to, I had went from paying $260 a week to paying $285 a week. So now I'm paying more money, and this is my clientele is barely like maybe like 35% full. Okay. So I get, like I said, my water broke with my son, and we had to abruptly move all my stuff out because let me tell you something, in this business, they don't give a shit. Do you hear me? Like, I just go let you just keep your stuff in the room because you're not feeling good. It don't work like that. So I'm literally in the hospital fighting for my son's life, and my husband and my father are like taking like everything down and moving all of my stuff out because they was like, okay, her water broke, she fighting for her son's life, but she still got to either pay us or get out. And so we weren't about to keep paying booth rent because they was telling me that I could have possibly been on bed rest until the day that my son was due, which was like in 4 or 5 months. So anyway, we ended up getting through that, and once we got through that, like my son had to stay in NICU for 4 months. But keep in mind, you guys, I'm back to work. Like we never were able to stop, and this was all like at this point I am 22 years old. So yeah, so I'm back to work. My husband's back to work. My mom and my dad are like helping us out with the kids and stuff like that. Thank God we never had to do daycare ever. So anyway, so I finally get everything back together, you know, as it pertains to my son. And so once my son came home from NICU, and I just felt like I had this big rush of energy and motivation, because when I was on bed rest, like they were bringing the chaplains in there, like, we don't think he's gonna make it, you know, we're gonna pray for you. And I was like, no, get out, like, no, like, leave me. No. Everybody's like, Sin, can we talk about grief? I said, no, I don't want to talk to anybody about shit. My son is fine, he's gonna make it, get out of my room. And I would just be rubbing on my stomach like, baby, don't listen. It's so corny. Like, I remember I used to put my hands on my stomach, and I used to say, like, baby, don't listen. Don't pay attention to them. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. They don't know what the hell they're talking about, baby. Close your ears. Don't listen. So anyway, my son's fine. But like I said, I just got this bolt of, like, electrifying energy to, like, be super dope and, like, super great. So after that, once my son came home, it was, like, pedal to the metal. Like, when I tell y'all, like, everything I can do, I was just, like, on the internet, like, researching, looking up different tactics and different things to do to brand myself and to put myself out there, right? So my dad was like, you know, baby, I'm so proud of you, and I'm so proud of you. And my father was getting ready to retire. And so my dad was like, you know, why don't we open up like a boutique / salon? And I was like, ooh, Dad, like, I really don't want to do that, because I really don't want to do that. Now, most people think that opening up a hair salon is like the height of any hairstylist's career. Like, that's like the one thing that she's always wanted to do. That is not my dream. It has never been my dream. It's not something I want to do. I don't care if I made $1 billion tomorrow. I don't want a hair salon. I just don't. So anyway, when my dad was like, well, baby, yeah, like, we can do it. You could just manage the girls, and I got everything else. So we talked about it in depth, and we were like, okay, cool. So mind you, at this point, I am 23 years old. And so we began to do everything. I was 22. I was 22 years old. So we began to do everything with the shop. And like when I say like Johnny on the spot, like we did everything. And when I say I paid for everything in cash, that is what I mean. I want to say my parents gave me like $5,000. My parents gave me like $5,000. But if you are a person who has ever opened up a hair salon, you know that $5,000, don't get me wrong, it helps dramatically, but you need way more than $5,000 to open a hair salon. And I didn't get a loan for anything. I did it all out of my own pocket at 22 years old, okay? And so, mind you, like I said, if you guys are interested in wanting to know like all of the tools that I use, then download one of my ebooks, especially the How I Made My First $100,000 ebook. That's amazing. It'll like teach you everything that I've done. But anywho, so we ended up getting the shop or whatever. Like everything was good. And I had major challenges with the shop as it pertains to the girls that were working there. Once again, if y'all want to know that story, let me know. That could be a whole nother story time. $16.96 every month. So honestly and truthfully, like I told y'all before, for the room I'm in right now, I pay $400 a week. That's $1,600 a month, and it's just me in here. So I had girls that were working there, and they paid booth rent. So the shop was nothing but profit for me. It still wasn't what I wanted though. But my father was there, and he was running all the logistics behind the company, so everything was fine. So then, out of nowhere, my father passed away. And you know the term like, oh, you dropped dead, like that's what happened. So, and like I've told that story, link in the description box. So my father passes away, and mind you, this was his dream. Like it was his shop. He was the one running everything. I was just supposed to make sure everybody paid their booth rent and pick the girls and interview them and manage, and that's all I was supposed to do. So, because I was 22 years old. Well, 23. By this time, I'm 23. Because we got the shop like in the at the beginning of that year. And then that following January 7th, my father passed away. So, it was so much. And it was like so many different things that were happening. And then on top of that, the building that I had when we first got the building, come to find out, because we didn't buy it, we were leasing, and come to find out it was like the building I was in and then the one next to it were both owned by the same lady, and she was an elderly woman, and she was basically on her deathbed, and she had signed her business away to some random guy, right? So he changes the logistics of the entire bit, like everything. So I signed a 5-year contract. So when they sat down, like I remember I had got like the banner done, the banner with the lights, because that wasn't going to come for like another like 6 months, because the place that I was going through, the banner was $6,000. And at the time, I did not have $6,000. So I got this beautiful banner on the outside, and then these window wraps on my doors. It was so beautiful. And so like a week later, I come to work and they had taken my banner down, and I called them, and that's when they told me that they had sold the building, and that that it's a whole new contract that they want me to sit down and sign with them. So I sit down with them and I meet with them, and the contract is completely different. Like it went from 5 years to they wanted me to be in the contract for 7. They didn't let me hang up a banner. They wanted me to only have like regular lighting outside. So I couldn't even have like an actual banner on my business to tell people that my freaking business was there to begin with. So that was insane for me. And then they wanted to increase my rent. So it was going to go from $1,696 to like $2,600 like that next month, right? So I was like, no, like this is like, you can't do that. Like I signed to this part of the lease. Like, no, we're going to leave. And they were like, oh, well, if you leave, you're, negating the contract. I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, I'll stay if like I'm like, I know that, the rent is going to increase this following year, but that's not what you're saying. You're saying this is a whole nother contract, and I don't agree to that. So at first the property manager was like, she's like, oh, okay, fine. So I'm like, okay. Me and my husband, we pack everything up. I tell the girls like, hey, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to pack up shop. And at first I was like, no, I'll just take it, because to be honest, Like, if I had to make it work, I could have made it work, but I didn't want to do it, and I was already so stressed out. And I told my husband, I was like, babe, like, I don't want to walk away from this shop. I'm like, because people already talk about me. Like, people, I'm already proving so many people wrong right now. Like, if I leave, I'm gonna prove everybody right. They're gonna think I failed. And my husband was like, Cynthia, they're talking shit about you anyway. Like, why do you care? Do what makes you happy. So I'm like, okay. So that's when I decided to walk away from the shop, and it was like one of the best things I've ever done, right? So anyway, I moved to Phoenix Suites, and when I get over there, like, at this point in my life, because this is like the first year my dad died, I was really like on autopilot. Like, I wasn't really like, I knew what I had to do, and I had like a format and a game plan, and I knew what I had to do, and I was just doing that and being a mother to my children. But that was it. Like, that was the only thing I had to do. Like, I don't want to say I wasn't a good wife, but I have to be a mother. I don't have a choice. So I was a mother, and then I stuck to my game plan. Like, that was all I could do. But anything else was just like autopilot, right? Friendships, everything, autopilot. So I finally like got the rhythm of things together, and then that's where Instagram came along. I told y'all guys about that. Then you can insert that story here. I'm gonna leave it up here in the cards. So insert that story here. So then that's where Instagram came up, and that's where I like start picking my momentum up, and I'm like, okay, I can't be defeated. And I began to like, slowly heal from the death of my father. And that's when I started to do, like different promotions, like Facebook promotion. And then, like I said, Instagram came around. So then I got on a lot of the different promotion groups on Keek and stuff, and I started, paying for promotion, meaning like bigger Instagrammers, like I would pay them to, repost my work and stuff like that. Just getting myself notoriety. Like, how can I expect for my name to grow and for people to know my name and know who I am if they can never see me, right? So anyway, in the midst of that, like, as things started to grow for me and pick up for me on social media, I decided that's where that's around the birth of like my product line, and that's where Sendall came from. And it's so I got my brand together, and then that's when I like got my logos done and like all of that stuff, right? Like I said, all the tools that I have and all of my ebooks and stuff, that's when I start implementing those. So at this point, I remember Shade Room reposted some of my work, and when Shade Room reposted my work, it was like, bro, like it just went like bananas. And so once Shade Room like reposted my work, but wait, let me say this. Prior to Shade Room reposting my work, I had like 65,000 followers on Instagram. And then after Shade Room posted it, I went from like 65,000 to like 95,000. And then after that, it just started like growing gradually, right? So anyway, at this point, like, that's when we decided, once my Instagram started growing so rapidly, I was like, oh my God, like, I need a tangible, like, product, because everybody isn't in Las Vegas and all of these people are following me. I'm like, and they're like, oh my God, Santa, look, you did it. I'm like, I'm gonna get them something to buy, girl. Once I started my product line, like, y'all, I was making like every week we was making at least like $4,000, like every week. And that's like a lot of money for, like I'm like 23. Yeah, I was still 23. So that was like the end of the year that my dad died. And so I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, I'm like, oh my God, these steps are working. So it was like crazy. Me and my husband was looking at each other like, oh my God. Because even when we was going through our struggle times, happy until my dad died. That's the year that was horrible. So anyway, So no, I was 24 because it was the following year after my father passed away. So anywho, like I said, we're grossing like $4,000 like every week. Sometimes every week, sometimes like every 2 weeks. So anywho, like at first, like all of the money was going back into the business, into promotion still, and labeling, packaging, reordering, and stuff like that. One day I'm at work. And life is magical. Still hurting about my father, but I'm coping, learning to live without him. And I'm at work, and this guy, he comes to my door and he says, Cynthia Smith? And I said, yeah. And then he gives me a paper and he was like, sign right here. And then I looked at it and he was serving me. So I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? And I had clients, and he didn't say anything, so they didn't know what it is. And my clients that like, if you're watching it right now, girl, that's what happened. And so I know they noticed that I was different. They were like, are you okay? I was like, I'm okay. So anyway, when my client left, I looked at it, and remember the salon that I told you guys about? They had served me papers and they sued me. They sued me for the cost of the building. They sued me for $495,000. Yeah. And I'm like, wait a minute, like what? Like, what is this? So mind you, I'm like 24 years old. I've never been sued, served, like nothing. I think the most I done had is a PayPal dispute for $100 from some girl who paid too much for a weave, and baby daddy ain't really wanted to spend that much money. So anyway, I like did my research and I talked to this attorney that was a freaking idiot. And basically the attorney was like, no, they have no grounds, blah, 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 this is that. So I'm like, okay, I wasn't even worried about it. So I'm going to say maybe like 4 or 5 months later, no, it was like really like insane. I was like, no, like there's no way, they could sue me. Like, I'm not gonna worry about it. Plus the attorney that I did talk to was like, they don't have a legal ground because blah, 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 blah. And he saw the paperwork that I had already signed to get me out of that because it was a whole nother lease that I didn't sign. He was like, you're fine. You don't have nothing to worry about, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, cool. So like I said, like 4 or 5 months later, my husband comes and picks me up from work. And when I got in the car, he was like, baby, how was your day? And my husband's always sweet to me, always. But this day, he was like real sweet. So he was like, how was your day? And I was like, oh, it was good. And so I started telling him about this one crazy client that I had, and he was listening. Not that my husband doesn't listen to me, but my husband's really like positive vibes. Like my husband's very like good vibes only. So if it's too negative, he'd be like, babe, do we have to talk about that? Do you got to bring that home? You know what I mean? Like if it's not that serious, if it's just drama. So, but this day he would let me talk about it. So I'm like, what he do? He must want me in jail. He must want Mr. Nasty Time later on something like what he want. So he was like, well, baby, I got to tell you something. He said, do you want the good news or do you want the bad news? And I was like, give me the bad news first, so the good news would be, And so I was like, okay. He was like, well, no, let me give you the good news first. So he told me something about my babies. And so, mind you, my kids were in the back seat. And so I turned around, I don't even remember what he said. And I was like, congratulating my daughter or my son, whatever. So I said, okay, what's the bad news? He said, well, can the kids see your phone? No, can the kids see the headphones? Because my kids have TVs on the back it's TVs in the back of the car. So he gave my kids the headphones. So then my heart is racing because I'm like, why is he doing that? And we talked about it before. My husband kind of know that I got issues. And this is before I got my life on track, you guys. So anyway, I don't remember the exact day, but the very next day was the first, and rent was due. All of our bills were due. Okay. So my husband tells me, he was like, well, baby, like Veritas, I think is the name of the management company. And I was like, yeah. He said, well, they sued you. He said, well, they sued us. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? No, they didn't. Because mind you, I hadn't been served with no court documents. I hadn't got no mail, no letters, no nothing for no court dates. Never. Nothing. Right? So I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? And he was like, they sued us, baby. And he was like, and they garnished our account. And I was like, what are you talking about? And mind you, you guys, I had, oh my God, I'm like getting emotional now, like talking about it. We had $10,000 in our savings account. And we had $3,000 and then we had $10,000 in our savings account and $4,000 in our checking account. Now, $14,000 may not sound like a lot to a lot of people, but for a 24 and 26-year-old, that's a lot of money. Okay. especially as hard as we have been working over the years after the death of my father and just everything that we have been through. Like, we had worked so hard. And anyway, that's how much money was in our account. And so I said, what do you mean? He said, baby, they took everything. He was like, our account is overdrawn $3,000. So I sat there and I remember breathing deeply, and I just lost my, I started punching I started like punching the dashboard. Like, I was losing my mind because my dad had passed away. I had cried about it, but my mom had been with my dad since she was 19. And I was making sure my mom was okay. I hadn't really grieved my father at all. And that just broke me. Like, I was losing my mind. We had to call a family member so they can help us pay our rent because rent was due the next day, and we were overdrawn like almost $4,000. Go to work with $14,000 and to go home and not even get home, and you overdrawn almost $4,000. I'm like, this is not happening to me. So anyway, I get home and I just remember like breaking down, like. And I remember turning on Kierra Sheard, and I just began to like worship because I didn't know what else to do. There was like nothing else I could do. So anyway, we ended up meeting with another attorney, obviously not the other one because he was a dumbass. And so basically at this point, we met with the same attorney with his dumbass. And he basically told us like the only thing that at this point that we could really do is like file bankruptcy. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm 24 years old. What 24-year-old files bankruptcy? But what they they had sued me. And the way that, I don't know what they did, but they never sent me any letters. So when they got to court, it just looked like I didn't show up. So whatever they said, the judge was like, okay. And they sued me for $495,000. So anytime I had my name on the account, they were taking my money until they got $495,000 from me. We didn't have a choice. So I felt horrible because I'm like, oh my God, like when you're married, everything that you do is tied to your spouse. So I'm like, oh my God, now my husband has to file fucking bankruptcy. So anyway, we filed bankruptcy, and once we filed bankruptcy, like everything was okay. We ended up, because we had just got a house, but like if they knew all about it and everything was fine because everybody knew that up until that point, our credit, everything was amazing, and we didn't know what else to do. So anyway, we do that. Later on, we ended up finding out that when we got to bankruptcy court, the bankruptcy judge or clerk or whatever you call him, when he looked at it, he was like, wait a minute. He was like, this is illegal. They shouldn't have been able to do that. We still had to file bankruptcy so I could have a bank account. But later on, we were able to get everything overturned. Everything was fine. Girl, my credit good. Girl, I'm saucy. Don't worry about it. But that was my story. Everything with Instagram was authentic, and this was like the year after, like I began my Instagram the year that Facebook bought Instagram, so they hadn't changed and put the algorithms in or nothing. So I was like killing it, right? So everything was perfect. We went from having our account overdrawn $4,000, and we was back 20K back in it, like ain't nothing ever happened. Like, who took some money out somebody's account? And mind you, I never got that money back. Never got that $14,000 back. I had to eat that. Is what it is. Anyway, back in the rhythm of things or whatever, and start promoting myself heavy on Instagram. Like I said, keep groups, all of that stuff, like non-stop. I already told y'all about that video in the description box below. So one day, I'm sitting on the edge of my bed, and I'm like posting something on my Instagram. Next thing you know, my fucking Instagram gets hacked. Remember I told y'all that story? Link in the description box below. So my fucking Instagram gets hacked at 145,000 subscribers. I'm like, can I get a freaking break, bro? Like, can I get a break? One day, can a nigga get a break? That's why I got my old lady thing on, because Instagram gets shut down, and like I told y'all in that video, like once my Instagram got shut down, everybody was like, oh, Sin, let's work together. Oh, Sin, let's work together. We should do this. We should do that. When I tell you, listen, when I tell you everybody went ghost. Everybody. Now, mind you, at this point, now we're at September of last year. When I tell y'all everybody got ghost, I mean like nobody was trying to work with me. Nobody was like reaching out to me. Nobody was like, ooh, Sam Pop, like none of that. Mind you, right before Instagram got shut down, everybody like, oh my God, Sam's on up. Oh my God, right? So anyway, I already told y'all, like, that's when I decided, like, but at that point, I'm like, oh my God, like, I can't get a break. Like, it was like every year I took a big hit, like my dad, and then the shop, and now my Instagram. I'm like, I cannot get a break. I cannot take this anymore. And so that's where you guys come into play. So that's when I decided, you know what? I'm going to focus on YouTube. So that's when I bought a new camera and like got new equipment and stuff. And that's when I just decided to start filming my YouTube videos and filming my videos here on YouTube. And then here we are, like, here we go. And mind you, in the midst of all of this, my momentum never stopped. It never stopped. I know most people are going to be watching this like, oh my God, Sin, you were going through that? Yes, because my momentum never stopped. Like, I'm going through all of this in the midst of my family not supporting me. Like when my father died, I have not heard from anybody. Still now, to this day, as we talking, I think I get more like encouragement from you guys than I do from my family and the outside world, which is fine. I am not telling y'all this so you can feel sorry for me, like, oh my God, Sin, I can't believe you went through all of that. No, forget that. I'm telling you that because if I can make it through all of this, you can make it through whatever you're going through. Even if your stuff is bigger than the stuff that I had to come up against, you never know what somebody is going through. That's why, like, when people come here on YouTube and they make like little nasty comments and I bite their head off, whatever, people be like, oh my God, hairstylists are so defensive. It's not that hairstylists are defensive. You have no idea what it took to get here. Like, to get here to the place that I'm at right now. I remember, like, when I started out in the hair industry, I used to work 7 days a week. This before I had kids too. Like, I used to work 7 days a week, like from like 6 o'clock in the morning to 10, 11, 12 o'clock. Like sometimes 1 o'clock in the morning. It didn't matter, chasing a bag. Like, mind you, this was in like 2009. Okay? So it's relentless. It's nonstop. There's no cheat card. There's no get out of jail free card. Like, I know that sometimes, like, people, you'll get on YouTube like, how to grow my business, how to grow in this industry, how to get a bunch of followers, how to do all of this. There's no get out of jail free card. There's no cheat card. No, I don't give a damn what anybody told you. I don't care. If somebody told you that it was easy, they're a liar. They're a liar. Some people do get put on. Some people get lucky. Like, let's say it happened to know Kim Kimball and she put you on. Like, that's good. It's great for you. But the chances of that happening, or let's say you get like a viral video or something and a celebrity sees it and you end up doing Cardi B's hair, or you end up, you know what I'm saying? Like, it happens, but that doesn't happen for everybody. And mind you, in the midst of all of this stuff, I mean, like, when I tell y'all every door that could possibly be open for me, closed in my face, like over and over again. And I remember before my dad died, my dad told me, like, stop trying to plan everything and stop trying to like figure everything out on your own. He was like, God is going to grow your business beyond your wildest dreams, bigger than anything you can possibly imagine, and is not going to have anything to do with you, like nothing to do with you, because God doesn't want anybody else to have credit for your elevation but him. And so I was just like, okay, Dad, because like you would be like, I want some Fruit Loops, and my dad would be like, Jesus loves Fruit Loops, and you'll be like, can I eat cereal, bro? But like, now that I'm older and I'm experiencing life on my own, like, I completely understand like what my father was saying. And like I said, you guys, when I first started this video, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. I'm like, because I've literally did the edit, uploaded it, and then deleted it like 4 or 5 times because I'm like, oh my God, like I don't want people to be judging me. Like, ooh, seeing file bankruptcy. Like mentally, I'm already going through so much stuff, and then you got hundreds of strangers. Like, I don't like you. I don't like that. I don't like the way you do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so much more than a notion, you guys. If you guys don't take anything else from this video, all I want you guys to take from this, not like, oh, feel sorry for sin, because when I tell you, like, I'm okay, like, this last year has been so amazing for me. Like, after losing my father, like, I know everybody, it's a normal way of life. Like, that's what happens. Like, your parents have you and then they pass away. Like, that's the normal thing. But my father dying was like the worst thing that is. I've never felt anything like that before. I never want to feel anything like that ever again in life. And I never thought I would be able to repair from it, ever. I never thought I would ever be in this place again. Like, whenever they took that, like, literally they just took $4,000 out of my account. Like, it was nothing. Like, I never thought that I would be standing at the place that I am in right now. Like, when they took my Instagram, just completely disabled my Instagram. Like I said, I told y'all that story already. I'm like, oh my God, it's like literally everything that I work for, God just slams the door on. And I just, at first I was like, are you mad at me? Like, what I did, Jesus? What I do? Like, what I did? What had happened? Like, I know I dragged a couple people when I was in high school and I was like smacking chicks and stuff. But like, we was in the D, everybody was dragging people. I was short. They thought I was soft. Jesus, are you punishing me for that? Like, I didn't understand like what was happening. But like now, sometimes, hopefully this, even if this, what the next thing I'm gonna say, I'm gonna end with this. So I'm gonna end with this. And even if what I'm about to say only touches one person, that is all I care about. It's all I care about. Like, if you don't learn anything else from me and anything else that I have to say, it's like, whenever something negative happens in your life, just stop jumping to the negative. We can't jump to the negative. We can't. And I'm going to use my Instagram being disabled for an example. If my Instagram would have never gotten disabled, I would have never got on YouTube. Never. Before my Instagram got disabled last year in September, I had 2,000 subscribers here on YouTube. And if that wouldn't have happened, I would have never gotten on YouTube because I didn't think I needed to. Because I'm not really like a big social media person pertaining to like my face being on video. Like, I am still, if you guys go back on my channel to like when I first started, you'll see that you don't really see me ever. Like, ever. But, you know, my husband's like, babe, you gotta get on there. Like, they gotta see your face. You gotta do, I'm like, for what though? Like, why can't I just do a voiceover? You know, so I'm not really like, oh, like, even if you used to go like on my Instagram, like, I don't think I've taken a selfie and posted like a picture of myself in like 3 months. I need to do better, but I'm not, you know, that's like not who I am. And, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna get out here because I had to do like a replay. Like, I had to, it's like, since my father died, every year I have to sit down and like, okay, another plan, you know. And it's absolutely, you know, it's absolutely like, literally, you know, that song, Won't He Do It? Like, that song, Won't He Do It, does so much for me because she says, like, the last verse of her song says that, like, what the enemy meant for her downfall turned out to be the best victory of her life. And I feel like that's what happened with me with Instagram, because it like changed the dynamics of the way that I saw myself, the way that I marketed my business. It got me tougher skin. Like, literally, if my Instagram would not have been disabled, I would not be the woman that I am right now. If my father didn't pass away, I wouldn't be who I am right now. If they run 14,000 from me, I wouldn't be who I am right now. And you guys, like, it doesn't matter what you want to do, just make sure you know exactly where you are going in this industry, because it is cutthroat, okay? Like, that's why I just wanted to share this story with you guys. It's not to make you guys feel bad for me or to feel sad for me, like, oh my God, Sin had such horrible. I know that's not what it is. I just want to tell you guys, because like, you'll get on there like, oh Sin, your YouTube's growing really big, or comments like, oh my God, Sin, like, you inspire me so much. Thank you so much for inspiring me, and things of that nature. And don't get me wrong, like, oh my God, like, it does so much for me to know that me sharing my story with somebody like encourages you. But please do not compare yourself to me. The reason that I'm sharing this with you is because I want, when you guys come here on my channel, I want you guys to see who I really am. So when you see what I do and you see my work, the grandchildren know to respect the pimp when she talking. You feel me? But then on top of that, like, you can know that, like, I got here after walking through all of that bullshit. Like I got to where I am right now after walking through like all of that, like a new storm every month. And mind you, I left a lot of stuff out because this video is already freakishly long. But seriously, like, I left a lot of stuff out because in the midst of that, like, when they took that $1,400 for us, like, car repossession, like, we got our car repossessed. Yeah, I got my car repossessed. We ended up being able to go get it back. But me and my husband, we sitting in the front and we had the sparkler water system. We got the sparkler water systems or whatever. And my husband had just went out, because you know how you would put the old bottles out in the front. And so we put the old bottles outside in the front. So we saw this bearded white guy come, and we thinking he there to pick up the bottles, because that's how the guy who normally picks up the bottles looks. And we looked, and it was a whole tow truck outside. A whole tow truck. Mind you, we was a little behind on our car payment. But we just weren't even thinking, because we was hiding that bad boy. We was hiding the truck in the garage. And we just wasn't even thinking about it. We were gonna make an $800 payment, because at the time, our car note was like, our car note was like $560 something. But like I said, we had $14,000 in our account, and we both were making really good money. And mind you, I had just got off work, so I had like $1,000, but we had all of these bills to pay, and all of our money was gone. So we used that $1,000 for stuff quick. So anyway, like, we just wasn't even thinking, and we look outside, he got our car hooked up to his tow truck, and he takes our car away. So and mind you, they took all of our money. We didn't have nothing. I had to ask my mom my mom was like, baby, calm down, because I was flipping the hell out. And she was like, baby, calm down. It's fine. We could just my mom ended up doing a freaking title loan on her car, so we can get our car back. Like, listen, this shit is not easy at all. It will take everything from you. It will take everything that you have. Like, I think that's why people on Instagram bother me so much, because they paint this picture of perfection, and they make people think that all you have to do is freaking post pictures online and be cute and go like this, and then your life is gravy train. And that is not what it is. Most of the great people that I know have been through the most horrible things ever. Shit, when you think about the Disney princesses, like, they all got horrible stories that end up being something beautiful. So you are in what feels like the storm of your life. Please know that after the storm of your life, what feels like the storm of your life is not a storm. You are being repositioned. Period. And when I was going through it, the Lord knows I did not want to hear this, but please hear me. Like, you are being repositioned. If you feel like things are being ripped away from you, then God's not just taking things away from you. He's not just taking things away from you. What he's doing is molding you and transitioning you, because a lot of times we have to get stuff stripped away from us, because if we don't get it stripped away from us, we'll never walk into the place that God wants us to walk into, or into the place that we're supposed to be in, whatever you may believe. And I'm a completely different person. My spirituality is different. I don't really get involved in conversations about religion anymore, because I just have a completely different outlook on life now, you guys. So like I said, I love you guys so much. This is my story and how I got started in the hair industry as it pertains to my personal life and what I had going on in the background. Now, the part 2 of this video is going to be the things that I was doing on top of, you know, the messed up stuff that was happening to me, like in my personal life. It feels so good now to like look back, and like even sometimes when I listen to music that I used to listen to around the time I was going through that, sometimes I just get so full. It's been so hard not to cry this entire time, like that I've been telling you guys about this. But I mean, hey, like, it is what it is. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you turn on your post notifications, and make sure you subscribe to my channel if you're not doing so already. Make sure you are following me on Instagram, Snapchat, and Pinterest. Girl, yes, girl, I just got a Pinterest, girl, guys. For you tune back in so you can see exactly how stuff got popping up in the industry. You know what I'm saying? Everything that I was doing on top of everything that you guys just learned about what I was going through underneath. If you guys want to know more about any different aspect of this story, like me to go into more in depth into anything, like the salon that I was at, or you know, when I opened up my own shop, if you guys want to know about that one, that's like a really good one. Just let me know in the comments below, and you guys, let me know what you truly think about my story. I love you guys so much. Thank you for always listening to me and for always being so supportive. Bye, girl.